Shalom, Israel. It's your boy New Breed coming through with another news brief. Welcome to the show where everything is live and unscripted. On today's show, I want to talk about an incident that took place in Prince George's County, Maryland. Yeah, the DMV. An incident that's very unfortunate. I mean, we have a real problem going on in our society in this day and age, brothers and sisters. See, there's a devil in the ghetto, in the hood, and in our communities that is totally ripping it apart, ripping it to shreds. You hear me? There's an ominous presence. There's a beast prowling about. The enemy is really terrorizing our community through subdebility, through demonic undertones in the music that's being played, through various drugs that tend to be experimental. And there's something happening in which walk-in demons are able to possess the souls of the youth. And it's a real problem. It's the elephant in the room that's not being addressed by liberals or conservatives, by leftists or freedom fighters. It's being ignored by pro-blacks. Those who hold the black fists up fail to mention what we're doing to each other. We're on high time. As the signs of the times reveal itself and time grows nigh, more demonic spirits are attacking the impressionable minds. Now, this story right here, I got to cover it because this took place in the DMV. For those who don't know, I'm from the Prince George's County, DC area. Been everywhere from Capitol Heights to Clinton, Maryland, to Temple Hills, Maryland, to Landover, Maryland. And this is close to home. I know these areas. I know what goes on in these communities, especially the community in which this tragic situation took place. And we're talking about Prince George's County, the richest Black community, the richest county in America. It's Prince George's County, Maryland. Do your research. Now, this particular incident took place in Clinton, Maryland, a place in which there's not much poverty going on. Just to show you that this energy, the demonic presence, knows no poverty line. It's in the air. Now, let me acknowledge you, the good people, before I go to my source, which will be Fox News. I see Rollo on the 7 Talk in the building, Dante Williams in the building, Lady P, Nate is in the building, Jay, Sophia Love. As you all enter, make sure you hit the thumbs up on the way in. Allow this story to spread abroad, because anytime I cover news briefs like this, it's always going to have a learning experience at the end, and it's always going to be good edification. All right. And it's going to promote awareness to what goes on in our community, not only from a physical level, but we always approach things from a spiritual level as well. And I find that rather important. Yes. Now, with no further ado, brothers and sisters, let's get into the news source.
We are back with a family tragedy in Prince George's County. A 15-year-old boy is accused of killing his mother and 8-year-old brother.
His father was also shot last night, and in a Fox 5 exclusive, our Sierra Fox spoke with him.
Well, this is where investigators say a 15-year-old boy shot and killed his own mother and brother. I just spoke with his father on the phone. He's actually serving in the United States Army. He's a real estate agent and pastor.
Let's stop there for a moment. He serves in the United States Army, a real estate agent, and a pastor. A pastor. Now, I got to highlight that because for those who know the Bible, you already know that the scriptures say you train up a child in the way you will have them go, and they will not depart from the faith. You train up a child in which you will have them go, and they will not depart from the faith. This shows right here, without a shadow of a doubt, that what's being taught in the mainstream Christian church has no spiritual fortitude whatsoever. This goes to show that what's being taught there doesn't have the power of the Almighty. When your children can be led astray to the point where they conduct such a heinous act, it's like they're giving out these pastor certificates. It's like they go through the theologian school with no problems, and they're processed very quickly, and then they're put out into the world, and they're called men of the cloth and ordained ministers of truth. But they can't get their household correct. They can't get their household under control. The children are still running amok. How could you have time to be in the military, to be a real estate agent, and be a pastor? No, the work of God, being his shepherds, is a full-time job in itself. Yeah, you may have things you can do on the side, but let's be clear. It's a full-time gig raising children, and it's a full-time gig putting the word of God out. And it ain't just in a building. It's not just in the confines and the construct of a church. It goes with you everywhere, including your own household. Right? So I thought I'd just point that out because, I mean, come on, man. You definitely have to have control over these young men, your boys. You raising up men. And what's the good of having a father that was in the military, a father who's business savvy, and a father who's supposed to have the spiritual authority, and your son still goes astray? Let's continue.
And says his own son shot him twice. He just got out of surgery. As you can imagine, he's in a lot of pain right now, but wanted to tell me what happened.
The TV was on. I just heard these pop sounds. I thought it was a TV, and I looked to my right, and I noticed that my son was shooting my wife across the room. And then he shot my 8-year-old. And then I realized what was happening. I jumped out to confront him, and he turned the gun and shot me twice. And I seen that the gun went empty, and he threw it down. I chased him to the front door, and I grabbed him, but I couldn't grab my right hand because it was broken.
There was a demon that jumped in that young man. And I'll tell you the reasons why. Mr. King, thank you for the $20 super sticker. It's highly appreciated. Thank you for that. Thank you for supporting this work. There was a demon that latched onto that young man, and it's because of the lifestyle that these teenagers are living now. The quote-unquote Gen Zs, as we call them. Their life consists of social media, rap music, and experimental drugs. That's what's going on, whether you in a ritzy environment or you in the slums of the ghetto. See, Clinton, Maryland, where these individuals are located, this place right here where all of this took place, these people are well off. But they can't stop that devil, that demon that's latching on to these youngins. They can't stop it no matter where they live. They just can't stop it. It knows no poverty lines. Satan is the prince of the air. It's going through the airwaves. A 15-year-old flipping the script like that We got to ask what's wrong with our society when you're in a two-parent household, when you're in an environment that should be conducive, and you got all of the capabilities to become a successful young man. How does this happen?
Mr. Oxley says when his son ran out the door, he dialed 911 and tried to render aid to his wife, 44-year-old Talidia Oxley, and son, 8-year-old Aza Oxley, but they didn't make it. Here's surveillance video from a neighbor. This is when Prince George's County Police found the 15-year-old suspect in the neighborhood last night after the deadly shooting that happened just before 6 in the evening on Windy Street in Clinton, Maryland. Mr. Oxley's 2-year-old was asleep on the floor during the violence, and 19-year-old son was upstairs in his room. Both of them are alive. He says his son, who is the suspect, is named Israel Oxley and is a student at Frederick Douglass High School. Police say he is charged with first.
Hold on. His son is named Israel Oxton. His son is named Israel. Let me rewind that part back. There's something that we're missing here. His son is named Israel. Let's go back some.
Israel Oxley and is a student at 14-year-old son was upstairs in his room. Both of them are alive. He says his son, who is the suspect, is named Israel Oxley and is a student at Frederick Douglass High School. Police say he is charged with first and second degree murder.
How could you be conscious enough to name your son Israel? The son name is Israel. I find that quite alarming. Quite interesting. And let me say this, and I always put this out here. Believe nothing you hear, half of what you see. Here you have a pastor who named his son Israel, who conducted these acts. Maybe the rabbit hole goes a little bit deeper than we know. This is something interesting. Let's continue.
First and second degree attempted murder and other related charges. Neighbors say it just shows you never know what's going.
And for those who don't know why I kind of hovered around his name, listen, for those who don't know, if you're in the confines of Christianity, you may not have been taught this, but the so-called Negroes that spread abroad, America, North, South, Central America, through the Caribbeans, all through Africa, all the so-called melanated people are the children of Israel. That's biblical. So that understanding in itself just came to an alarm that he named his son Israel, and he's a pastor, but all of this happened with his child. But as you can see, he wasn't connected to any Israelite camps or anything of that nature. He was a legit pastor. Mike Joseph, thank you for the $50 contribution. Highly appreciate it. Yep, somebody said, Steph Bless said, Pops was a pastor? Damn. Question mark. Yeah, it's crazy. Mike Joseph, I highly appreciate you, brother. Thank you for supporting this work. Let's continue.
On behind closed doors.
They were actually pretty good people. They were quiet. They really stayed to themselves. You didn't hear a lot from them. The kids were not rambunctious or anything running through the neighborhood. So it's just unfortunate that this happened. I know they have a long road ahead of them.
You may be wondering, why did this 15-year-old allegedly turn violent on his own family? Well, his father tells me back in October, his son threatened to kill him with a knife, and police responded to their home.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's stop right there for a moment. The father was asked, why did he all of a sudden turn violent? Because you have a household that should be conducive for the growth and the nurturing of a legitimate member of society. Look at the home that they live in. Look at that home they live in. How did this happen? He said that the son got violent with him months previous, And he threatened to attack him with a knife. Now listen, fathers out here. Fathers, fathers, fathers. You need to take notes from Marvin Gaye's father. I'll just leave it at that. No, I'm going to elaborate. Fathers with your sons. The Bible tells us if you spare the rod, y'all know the rest, right? You spare the rod, you spoil the child. Your son, if he has the gumption and gall to threaten the father with any type of object that can be used to do any blunt force trauma or harm to you. Fathers, let's make this clear. Spoiling a child and being passive with the rod is a recipe for damn destruction. I'm telling you right now, fathers with these young men, I'm telling you, when that took place, that young man should have got the wrath. Some demons you're going to have to be forceful with. There's some demons out there that you're going to have to really get up out of your house. Think about it. You done worked. You done got on a grit and grind to create this life for these children. And that young man had the audacity to threaten the father. Not in my house. I could tell you that. I could tell you that. My heart beating quick just thinking about that. You got to let your sons know, hey, listen, I don't give a damn how tall you get. I don't care how many muscles you build. I don't care how much protein you drink or how athletic you done got. I'm your father, and you're going to know it. And anytime you step out of line, I'm going to have your number. Believe that. Fathers got to put their foot down, and I know that the internet don't want to hear this. They want to kill masculinity. They want to kill leadership in the household. They want to stop men from being fathers. But I'm going to tell you right now, biblical men, do what you got to do. You got to handle that. Let's continue.
After that, he was sent to stay with his grandma. They just let him live back at the home again after Thanksgiving with restrictions such as limiting his cell phone and internet use. His father thinks that made him upset, and he was also hanging out with the wrong crowd.
So let me get this right, Pops. You knew the reason he got upset because you took what? You took that phone. You took social media. I told y'all, it's a cultivation of social media, being around the wrong people, and just this music, these demonic undertones. So listen, these kids will go absolutely bananas over their social media, over their phone. So can you imagine when this metaverse rolls out and everything is moving full circle? Could you imagine when they're not getting all the devices that they desire? Look at what type of environment that's been created. Somebody said, social media is of the devil. Oh yeah, if it's not used properly. And then you got a lot of these young men on demon time based on what they seeing on social media. Watching these damn rappers. Somebody said these devices are demonic. Yep, we have a real social dilemma. These people are addicted to these devices to the point they will get violent for them. Well, news flash. All you Gen Zs out here, here's a news flash for you. News flash. When you're in prison because you done lashed out and lost your entire damn mind, there ain't no cell phones. There ain't no cell phones. Matter of fact, all your little luxuries and civil liberties, all of those are gone. I see a Gen Z in the building. Say it's a Gen Z in here. I'm not talking about all Gen Zs. Let's not get it twisted because they are future. And a lot of Gen Zs are learning over here. And a lot of Gen Zs, they not really in correlation with the ones out there in the world. They waking up. Yeah, his parents definitely failed him. Most of all, his father failed him. His father failed him. As much money as he had, as much as he created an environment for his son, as much as he gave him what he wanted, he failed him. You know why he failed him? Because he didn't discipline him. He let a young monster be created. He created a damn monster. And this is what happens. All you fathers who think you're doing right just by supplying everything for your child, you think you're doing right just by making sure they got a home to live in. You doing right by making sure they got vehicles to drive, and they got all these things. They pulling up to school in $500,000 and $200,000 cars, and they able to have any type of clothing they want to wear. They got Giuseppe's and Versace and Jordans, and you making sure you did everything right in life to make sure that them children can have that. But at the same time, you failed to do one big thing as a father, and that's actually love your child. You don't love. Anytime you would spoil a child and don't teach them concrete morals and guidelines and put your foot down and protect them from the wiles of the world by discipline, you don't love them. You don't love your children. That's the part you messed up at. You really don't love them. You don't love them enough to correct them. To some people, it may hurt disciplining your child. It may hurt me more than it's going to hurt. It ain't going to hurt me. Nah. If you out of line, you out of line. I'm a biblical man. It is what it is. And that's why when you discipline, you don't do it out of anger. You do it out of necessity. Yeah, tough love, man. It is what it is. That would have never happened if his father. Listen, let me tell you something. When he threatened his pops with a knife, if his father would have knocked his ass halfway across that room with a nice uppercut, right? I promise you, his wife and his younger son would be alive. It's something about when a man of the Most High lay down the foundation and a law in his house. It's something about when that takes place. It stops a lot of things from happening. AR, thank you for the $5 contribution. Says the role of a father is to give his children everything they need, not everything they want. When will us as men learn this? Keep speaking up, bro. Thank you, family. I appreciate that, AR.
Drugs that these kids are getting on is onto their state of mind.
He said the drugs that these kids is getting on. You talking about your own son. So you knew that your son was experimenting with drugs. Let me explain something. This is the reason why I tell people not to smoke weed, not to dibble and dabble with different drugs. Listen, spirits and demons are connected to drugs, brothers and sisters. The Bible tells us that Satan is like a roaring lion seeking who he may devour. When you are inebriated, you open your pineal gland to possession. This is why you are at a different mind state when you are high. This is why your personality and everything alters. You're letting a spirit in. You're opening yourself for a demon. When you smoke that weed, that's probably been laced with all kinds of chemicals, because nowadays people are not growing no Reggie. People are lacing the weed with fentanyl, cocaine, embalming fluid. Some people are spraying roach spray on it. Some people are growing it out of manure. It's like a lot of things taking place with the marijuana these days, and it's really setting people off. The father brung up drugs for a reason. What could have happened is the young boy could have took a hallucinogen. A lot of the times when people lash out like this and do unthinkable, unspeakable acts, such as killing his own mother. He slaughtered his own mother and younger brother. He could have been hallucinating. He could have thought he was playing Call of Duty. He could have thought he was in a damn metaverse playing Call of Duty, and really he was high. Paranoia gets to kicking in. Like, let me tell you something. The drugs ain't where it's at. It ain't where it's at. Yep, somebody said that sounds like PCP. Facts. Real talk.
social media. They hanging out with their friends, and if there's an issue, get it addressed right away. I mean, we tried to get it addressed right away. We just couldn't seem to get the right help.
The father there says that the gun used in this tragedy,
He said we tried to adjust it, but we couldn't get the right help. Well, you a pastor. You a pastor. Let's listen to that last part again.
I mean, we tried to get it addressed right away. We just couldn't.
I mean, we tried to get it addressed right away, but we just couldn't get it under. You a pastor. You mean to tell me you couldn't vanquish those demons off of your son? Whatever happened to the good pastor? Whatever happened to the pastor that laid hands on people and cast the demons out? Whatever happened to the not my house pastors? What is going on? What happened to the pastor that could get his son on his own household under the right? Listen, there used to be a time in which pastors wasn't no joke. My granddad was a pastor. He wasn't no joke. You was going to be respectful. When you got around him, you already knew what time it was. You wasn't going to do nothing out of the ordinary. What's going on in this day and age where you're going to seek outside help when you're supposed to be a man of the cloth? This happened in my hometown. I'm just like thrown back by this. What happened to actually putting your damn foot down and being a strong biblical man? Yeah, that's definitely not a biblical pastor. Ain't no way. Somebody said grace and truth is exposing these Luciferian pastors. Right. This is what happened when you don't honor the law, statutes, and commandments. This is what happens when you sit there and you got all the rudiments of the world. You got all the material possessions and you got all the success here in this world. But you fleecing the flock. You're not teaching the entire sincere truth of the Bible. You're not teaching the people who they are. This is what happens when you have an image to put on. Like the neighbor said, they was quiet people. They seem to be godly people. See, this is what happens when it's all about an image and it's not about teaching the word of God, not teaching the word of truth, but you're taking all the benefits of the people, but you're not teaching the truth. You lose control of your own household. Somebody said, what do I think about Pastor Geno Jennings? I think Pastor Geno Jennings is a man of the Most High. That's one of them old school pastors. Do I agree with everything that he says or all his views? No. But yes, he's a man of the Most High, and you can tell he is. Your soulmate says you have to have spiritual authority. The demons probably laughing at some of these pastors. Right. It reminds me, you know what this situation reminds me of a horror movie. When the priest comes in the room, got a cross, and he's trying to exorcise a demon, and you got some little 8-year-old girl with her hair spinning around, projectile vomiting, and she goes ahead and smack the pastor all the way across the room. That's what that pastor sounded like. He sounded like the priest on The Exorcist that got his ass smacked all the way across the room. Men have to step up. Men have to step up, bro. A pastor let this happen to his family. And that little dude that was on Demon Time, he's going to have a real hard time behind bars in DC jail. He going to have a hard time up there in Upper Marlboro. Oh, yeah. They probably going to send him to Upper Marlboro, and then they're going to end up sending him up top. And that man ain't going to have it easy in there. And you're going to get charged as an adult up in PG County, in the neighborhood you in. Ooh-wee. Ooh-wee, you going to have a hard time where you going. I'm telling you. Reborn. Thank you for the $5 contribution. It says lack of guidance, drugs, bad company, music, trying to impress and get validation from people, porn, and more is messing up our people. Peace and love. That's a fact. That's a fact. Yeah, where this young man is going, trust me, I know this area, and it ain't gonna be pretty. Yeah, he's gonna be doing fed time with grown ass men who don't know the luxury of living in Clinton, Maryland. They don't know the luxury of living in one of the richest counties in America. They don't know the luxury of the life that you had. But see, you was out here listening to Nick Nardo or whatever that dude is, Nardo Wick, and you was listening to Lil Durky, and you was listening to all this damn drill music, and you was listening to all that damn I want to shoot his lungs out. And that's what you were doing. And you thought that was okay for your spirit. You thought that was okay. And clearly, your pops didn't even protect you from that. Your pops didn't protect you to what you was listening to. Nick Nardo, that's his name. Nicky Nardo and Tay K and Lil Durky and all these little damn they some little demons. I mean, the music is so bad, they don't even have a reason for shooting. The song will start off, I want to shoot the lungs out. Like, what? That's how the song starts off. In the 90s, if you run up on me trying to take my jewelry, I'm a blang, blangity, blang, blang. Nowadays, the song, it comes on all demonic undertones. All you hear is organs and pianos, and it's like gritty bass, sound like it's played at 550 frequency, and it sounds eerie as hell, sound like somebody just doing a seance, and then one of these little rappers come in mumbling. He come in mumbling. Yeah. I want to shoot a head off. Like, what? That's what these youngins is listening to, bro. It's demonic as hell. Combined with the music, combined with the lack of leadership, we got some work to do. Times are distorted, man. Yeah, that symbiotic frequency. You literally is putting venom in these kids. Y'all seen the movie Venom and Carnage? It's like Venom take over these damn kids. It's like an alter ego operating in them. That little young man don't even remember doing what he did, more than likely. More than likely, he just gonna wake up in a cell, not knowing how the hell he got there. Discipline your sons. If you learn anything out of this, man, discipline your sons. You spare the rod, you spoil the child. Listen, the spirit of Cain is operating in this world right now. The spirit of Cain. That's why, and for those who don't know, let me give you a brief biblical lesson. Cain killed his brother Abel. That spirit is operating in society. That's why on the show Power and a whole lot of other shows that's being released, they're using the name what? For the nemesis, for the bad guy, for the guy who got the most body stack up, they're using the name either Cain or Canaan. There's a reason for that. There's a spirit of Canaan. There's a spirit of Cain in the streets right now where they're trying to get people to kill their family members. That's what's going on right now. Listen, they done ran amok on the streets. They done ran amok in the streets. This demonic energy, this spirit, they want people to kill family. And what I want to happen is I want you pro-blackity black folks out there to step up and start boycotting the damn music. I'm sorry to yell. I get passionate about what I'm saying. If you're going to be marching, because listen, if you're going to keep marching over police brutality, when you look at statistics, it doesn't even compare. It pales in comparison to black on black crime. Why don't you get to the nitty gritty in the root of the problem? The root is the music. The root is the drug use. Why don't you start boycotting the damn music, the artists, the entertainers? Because that's what has possessed these children. That's what's killing us the most, right? How is it that we make up 51% of all homicides here in America, and so-called whites only make up 39%? and then you have other demographics that make up the rest. How is that even possible if we are the minority? Those statistics should be alarming to you. We make up the minority, but we make up majority of homicide rates. We're imprisoned the most for homicide, but we're the minority. The number shouldn't even be close, but we outdoing them, which proves that black on black crime is the biggest killer of black people, but Black Lives Matter to y'all, huh? It is what it is, brothers and sisters. Kookie B, thank you for the $5 contributions. Really appreciate you. Been watching a while and finally able to speak up. All praises to the Most High. Thank you. I appreciate it. And Julie Ann, thank you for the $5 contribution. Says, is Astro World Travis Scott didn't wake people up to this music agenda? I don't know what will. Facts. In this situation, it's music, it's the drugs, it's the lack of fatherhood, the lack of parenting. It is what it is. I love each and every one of y'all. More content coming. If y'all enjoy these New Breed News Briefs, hit it with a thumbs up and share. Follow me on Patreon. Follow me on Instagram. If you would like to support this work via Cash App, it's highly appreciated. 10% of all contributions go back to the people who are in need. We do plenty of outreach work. We just don't do it on camera. Not my style, but we giving back to the people. I love each and every one of y'all. Y'all have a blessed day out here. Y'all stay safe. Keep reading your Bible, drink your water, and stay out the way. With that being said, shalom and peace.